Solomon. I'm a digital anchor here at News 10. And right now we are going to take you down to Detroit, which obviously everybody knows is just buzzing with excitement, as the Visit Detroit Commission is joined by Roger Goodell, the NFL Commissioner, and Mike Tirico from NBC Sports. They're going to be talking about everything that happened in 2023 in the city, the great events, the successes that they say they had. They're also going to be looking forward to 2024. And just in a couple months, in April, the NFL is holding the 2024 NFL Draft right in Detroit. So we're going to be talking about that. I see Rory there. I see the NFL or the Lions cheerleaders there. So we are going to take a listen right now.
Welcome to the 2024 Visit Detroit Annual Partnership Meeting.
Tick-tock, Detroit. From April 25th through April 27th, we will be hosting the 2024 NFL Draft. What do you think about that, Dan?
That's what I'm talking about! This is a terrific day in downtown Detroit.
Hundreds of thousands of fans, the best college prospects, all right here in the D.
All right, here we go. The Detroit Lions select Aiden Hutchinson, Panay Sewell.
Big boy. This is Dan Campbell. Man, you ready to be on?
Yes, sir.
Touchdown, Detroit Lions! The Detroit draft experience will be unlike any other from NFL fans and our community. So mark your calendars, because we're on the clock, Detroit.
The NFL selects Detroit.
Please welcome to the stage Senior Vice President of GovMC and Chairman of the Board, Visit Detroit, David Katz.
Good morning. It's a privilege to welcome and be with all of you here at Ford Field at the 2024 Visit Detroit Annual Partnership Meeting. I'm honored to serve as the chair of the Visit Detroit Board of Directors. This organization and the hospitality community of Southeast Michigan are helping to transform the narrative about our region. 2023 has been an exceptional year for Detroit, Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb counties. As a result of strong feedback last year, there has been significant improvement in highlighting the entire region. Visit Detroit now has a small army of more than 100 content creators, capturing all the reasons visitors should visit the 138 communities that make up Southeast Michigan. Claude has emphasized to the executive committee and to me that there is still more to come with Operation Metro. There's an unwavering commitment to promoting the region for 2024 and beyond. Success for every hotel in the region is critical to the organization's health and economic vitality of Metro Detroit. I know 2024 will be a special year for the region with the NFL Draft, but I also know that the changes the Visit Detroit team has made to the brand, along with their commitment to serve the entire region, will ensure that the best days of the organization are still ahead of us. I'm incredibly grateful to all of you for your work on the board. It's a pleasure to serve alongside all of you. Now we have some important governance business to accomplish. We need to elect a new class of 11 members to join our 36 already seated directors. The directors elected today will hold office for a 3-year term until December 2026. We need to state that every membership has only one member of record, and that single person has the right and power to vote in today's election. Every person entitled to vote will have returned a proxy in advance, or if we did not receive a proxy, a ballot was emailed to you this morning at 6 a.m. If you have already voted by mailed proxy before this meeting, there is no need to cast a ballot here. The proxy holders will vote your share as indicated on the proxy. Mr. David Bargamian, General Counsel for the DMCVB, has been appointed to act as the teller and inspector of election for this meeting. Mr. Bargamian will formally announce and communicate the results of this election within 5 days. So now, I would like to introduce Christina Lovio-George, President of Lovio-George Incorporated, who will present the recommendations of the nominating committee. Other board members who served with her on the nominating committee are myself, David Lorenz, Elliot Broom, Michael Montry, and Michael Wright. Now please help me in welcoming Christina Lovio-George.
Let's get it. Let's get it.
Wow. Thank you, David, and thank you for saying yes to being drafted as the new chairman of the board. And welcome to all of you. We couldn't build this destination without you, so thank you. On December, yes, give yourself. On December 5th, 2023, the Board of Directors accepted the recommendation of the nominating committee and endorsed these 11 individuals set forth in the proxy and ballot for this meeting. The nominees include the following, each of whom serves as a director: David Coulter, Oakland County Executive; Matthew Cullen, Principal and Chairman, Jack Entertainment; Ryan Friedrichs, Vice President of Development, Related Companies; Antoine Garibaldi, President Emeritus and Distinguished University Professor at the University of Detroit-Mercy; Mark Hackle, Macomb County Executive; Anthony Holt, Chief of Police, Wayne State University, Go Tartars; Alicia Jeffries, EVP, Chief Marketing Officer, Detroit Pistons; Patricia Moradian, President of the Henry Ford; Michael Murray, Vice President and General Manager, WXYZ TV; Chad Newton, Executive Director, Detroit Wayne County Airport Authority; and Nia Winston, President, Unite Here Local 24. So the Bureau bylaws require that any Visit Detroit member may nominate a candidate by submitting a petition to the chairman or president by this past November 1st. No such petitions were received. Accordingly, the nomination for directors closed, and there are no other candidates standing for election other than the board-endorsed slate.
Thank you, Christina, and the nominating committee for undertaking such an important task. The balloting polls have been open since 6 a.m., and a copy of the ballot was emailed this morning. All ballots received should have been filled out and returned to the polling place digitally. If you have not submitted your ballot, please take a moment now to submit it. All right, election polling is now closed. Mr. Bargamian will tally the votes and make this report on the election of boards. Please watch for this report via email. At this point, we have finished the business portion of the meeting, but there's still more inspiration and information to come. So if I could have a motion to adjourn the business portion of the meeting. There's a motion. Is there a second? All in favor of adjourning our business meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you very much.
They call Detroit the city of champions. It's a place where the best come to play. And where big dreams become reality. We're the titans of the industry, kings of the jungle. and OGs of the ice. Whether you're Detroit by birth or by choice, it means something. Never afraid to stand out or break away from the pack. Detroit is bond, kinship, a commitment to moving the chains without forgetting where you've been. We're a city of many voices, united in one pride. We stay hungry. We live to compete. We always change the game. We are Detroit. And we're officially on the clock. Now it's our time to shine. And we're putting the whole world on notice. So let's huddle up, Detroit, and get ready to take the field.
Please welcome to the stage CEO and President of Visit Detroit, Claude Molinari.
Welcome to Detroit City. I said welcome to Detroit City. Every place, everywhere we go. Man, we deep everywhere we roll.
Good morning, Detroit. Welcome to the annual Visit Detroit Partnership Meeting. I am Claude Molinari, President and CEO of Visit Detroit, and I'll be your quarterback for this year's meeting. Now, this one's going to be a little different than years past. The main reason being that we're hosting a small get-together you probably haven't heard of. It's called the NFL Draft, and it's coming here in 99 days. Put your hands together if you know about that. With that said, we realize that this year's event is more than an annual partnership meeting. This is our 2024 pregame huddle. Now, who's excited to hear from NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell and Mike Tirico from NBC Sports? I know I am, but before we bring them out, I'm excited to share with you our Visit Detroit playbook that made the last 12 months such a success. 2023 was a remarkable year for Visit Detroit and our region. Visitors have been pouring back into Oakland, Macomb, Wayne counties, and the city of Detroit. They came from all 50 states and more than 80 countries. Visitors have been coming to our signature events like the Taylor Swift and Beyonce concerts, WWE SummerSlam, the Grand Prix, Movement, the Woodward Dream Cruise, the Afro Nation Music Festival, the Detroit Auto Show, and hundreds of others. Visitors are also coming to experience the Detroit region's remarkable culture, music, art, and history. The success we are experiencing comes down to each and every one of you, and then the tens of thousands of hospitality workers in our industry. As much as the Visit Detroit team is out in the community, we know that we will not meet 95% of the visitors to our region, but they will meet all of you. It is your service, your energy, your commitment to excellence that brings millions of visitors to our region each year. You are the driving force that keeps visitors coming back again and again. I am so grateful to each of you for your commitment and leadership to Southeast Michigan. Additional thanks to our wonderful board of directors and executive committee for their guidance and support throughout the year. Today, I want to particularly recognize Dr. Antoine Garibaldi, who has served as chairman for the past 2 years. Antoine has been an incredible partner to work with. While neither of us is originally from Detroit, we share a passion for our adopted home that motivates our devotion to the city and the region. Thank you, Dr. Garibaldi, for your years of service to the University of Detroit Mercy, Visit Detroit, and most importantly, this community. Please join me in giving a round of applause to Dr. Antoine Garibaldi. That's an entrance. I like that. I'm also very excited to work with incoming board chair David Katz to continue the exceptional momentum that we have created. Before turning our attention to a full report on where our organization is going in 2024, I want to recognize the outstanding team that I get to work with every day at Visit Detroit. We have grown significantly from when I first started, which is a true reflection of the progress our region is experiencing. 3 years ago, when I started, there were 24 full-time employees. The team has displayed an unrelenting commitment to positively transforming our culture and implementing strategic initiatives internally that will make us even more effective in attracting visitors to Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne counties. Their fearless spirit and deep sense of hometown pride make my every day the best day ever. Thank you, champions. Visit Detroit's core mission of attracting visitors, meetings, conventions, and events has never been more critical in the future of our state. It is not just about the large economic impact that our industry provides. Visit Detroit is at the forefront of our state's commitment to attracting and retaining talent that will put Michigan firmly on a growth trajectory. Through strategic relationship building with the state of Michigan, the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, and other businesses and civic organizations, Visit Detroit has positioned itself as a leader in our state's drive to retain and attract more residents. We are helping to create a virtuous circle of upward growth by building a community that people want to visit, which in turn is a community that people want to live, work, and invest in. And that creates a place where more people want to visit. The key message that we are sharing with state leaders is that it starts with a visit. Understanding where we are going requires us to reflect on where we have been. Founded in 1896, Visit Detroit is the first convention and visitors bureau in the world. So we know a little bit about record keeping and history. And I'm thrilled to say that we made history once again, as 2023 was a record year for hotels in the Detroit region. In November, the Detroit region passed $1 billion in lodging revenue for the first time in our 128-year history. This is a monumental accomplishment built on the steady and consistent growth of our hospitality industry. Achieving this milestone requires a combination of multiple positive conditions. First, we have to have the number of hotel rooms that can support large enough visitation to the region. The supply of our hotels has grown significantly over the past 15 years, and we now have just over 45,000 hotel rooms to support our guests. I do need to mention we are making aggressive and strategic efforts to increase our downtown hotel capacity, which is critical for attracting larger events. Second, the demand needs to be there. If we simply added supply, but the interest in visiting Southeast Michigan stayed flat, then we wouldn't be seeing these numbers. Instead, we have seen strong occupancy rates throughout the year, even though we have added thousands of new hotel rooms since our record visitation of 2018. Finally, as a result of the increased demand, hotels are able to increase their daily rates, which has led to record revenue per available room. To further contextualize this number, numerous economic analyses show that only about 20% of a visitor's spend is on lodging. It's important to keep in mind that many of our region's visitors only come for the day, stay at a smaller hotel, short-term rental properties, or with family and friends. And I say this to point out that these stays are not part of the $1 billion in lodging revenue. When the full economic analysis of all visitations for 2023 is tallied, it is projected to exceed $10 billion for the region, with over 17 million visitors. The average visitor to the Detroit region spends $557. So if we multiply that by 17 million visitors, that is the equivalent of 235,000 Jeep Grand Keys, which is almost 12,000 more than were actually sold last year. Visitors just to the Detroit region are the equivalent of producing a top 10 selling vehicle in the United States. Now, I want to emphasize that this record is not my success or even Visit Detroit's success. This is a positive reflection on the people of Southeast Michigan, our dynamic business, and the vitality of our community. Collectively, we are attracting more interest, investment, and visitation to our region. All of this positive momentum is also being felt by the businesses of Southeast Michigan and the more than 445,000 people in Oakland, Macomb, and Wayne County who work in a job supported by hospitality and tourism. One of the most important reasons our industry is doing so well is the Visit Detroit Convention and Sales Partnership and Services team led by Dave Beechnow and Harriet Carter, respectively. They had a tremendous 2023, delivering a distinctly Detroit experience to many of these visitors and event organizers. Some of the major events that came to our region last year include Automate, North America's largest robotics and automation event that broke records with over 30,000 attendees at Huntington Place. The Battery Show, the premier event for battery and EV industry at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi. The International Women's Forum at the Detroit Marriott at the Renaissance Center, which brought more than 2,500 industry leaders from around the world. And the American Bus Association, which brought more than 1,000 group tour operators to our region. These tour operators help millions of people take vacations every year and educate them on top destinations to visit. I'm also excited to share one more piece of huge news. Through the fantastic work of our sales team and built on the great work of our Travel Work Summit that was held here in September, U.S. Travel announced that Detroit will be hosting IPW in 2028. Now, IPW might not be a household name, but from a travel and tourism perspective, this is our industry's Super Bowl. More than 5,000 industry professionals and 750 members of the media from over 100 countries attend IPW each year. The travel professionals who attend this event help inspire tens of millions of people around the world to experience what various destinations have to offer. In addition to our city's success attracting visitors this year and hosting signature events, our communication and tourism team, led by Chris Moyer, worked with national and international travel journalists to help tell our region's story to new potential visitors. Last year, there were 104 stories about Southeast Michigan in media like the New York Times, Good Morning America, the Washington Post, Travel and Leisure, and National Geographic. Phenomenal coverage of our region just wasn't limited to the United States, however. Our communications team is responsible for stories being placed in the UK, Ireland, France, Belgium, the Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Japan, Norway, Sweden, Finland, Denmark, Turkey, Mexico, Brazil, and of course, our friends from across the river in Canada. In addition to all the fantastic media attention, our communications and tourism teams have helped with the launch of 2 new direct international flights to Detroit this year with Iceland Air and Turkish Airlines. Of course, we couldn't have done it without the incredible leadership of one of our board members, Chairman Newton, and his team at the Detroit Metro Airport, the #1 mega airport in North America. In 2023, the Detroit Sports Commission, also led by Dave Beechnow and Marty Daubek, continued to shine a light on the region as a prime sports destination, showcasing our dedication to sports and entertainment. While the team was meticulously preparing for the NFL draft, we still held dozens of events all over the region, including a USA Boxing National Qualifier, the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour on beautiful Lake St. Clair, and the most successful WWE SummerSlam in history right here at Ford Field. Additionally, the team submitted bids to host future Big Ten Conference football championships and men's and women's basketball tournaments, highlighting Detroit's ongoing commitment to major sporting events. None of this would be possible without the creativity of our marketing team led by Stan Smith. Here is a quick recap video of their notable highlights from 2023.
here to tell you about a superfly city with amazing food, dope music, great shopping, and much more. My second home, you know what it is. The D, Detroit.
We're gonna roll, roll, roll. Let's get it. Roll, 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 roll. Let's get it. Roll, 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 roll. Let's get it. Roll, 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 roll. Let's get it. Roll, roll.
The marketing team has set the foundation for a new brand rollout in collaboration with several local creators, business leaders, industry partners, and community members to ensure that it truly represented who we are as Detroiters. To capitalize on this momentum, they also launched a new advertising program for our partners to take advantage of through Tempest and Destination Signal Services. And if you haven't heard yet, the latest digital pass in our Visitor Pass program launches this month. The Dining in the D Pass is a dining pass geared toward promoting our neighborhood restaurants. This pass will now join our program that features our Detroit Brew Trail, Explore Detroit Pass, and our Detroit Pizza Pass. If you haven't signed up yet, please be sure to reach out. Each of their strategic efforts are designed to reach even more potential visitors as we work toward our goal of attracting 25 million visitors to the region by 2030. To achieve that goal, we needed a new, bold message that will help change the narrative and perception of Detroit. Our new way forward speaks from a place of strength, passion, and determination, reminding the world that when we ride, the world rides with us. To remind them that cars wouldn't be cars, music wouldn't be music, and your world wouldn't be your world without Detroit. This new brand direction reintroduces Detroit to a new generation of travelers everywhere, while zeroing in on attracting travelers from major travel markets such as Chicago, New York City, Washington, D.C., Atlanta, and Philadelphia. Here's a sneak peek of the new brand direction.
For Detroit, the city of contrasts, looks toward tomorrow, confident that its great goals will be gained through the vision, cooperation, and energy of all its people.
See them flossing in the metal, the games in a higher level, dimensions we in the several. You see, we get them together. DIY, print and slang, bangers, slang. Show on Brittany saying he wasn't always this way. In fact, brown boy, slanted eyes, bleach stained sweatsuit, throwing water on me in the middle school. Only brown head in my 9th grade bag. 13 walking in the streets of UK. Now maybe there's a lesson I've been given, or some wisdom from the stories that I need to tell. And everybody's hoping and scraping and wishing they could be something or something sad. If I can be me, then you can be yourself. I know it's like we never said. Don't stay the same, change like every day. Got it locked with a namesake. Don't stay the same, change like every day. Got it locked with a namesake. Don't stay the same, change like every day. Got it locked with a namesake. Don't stay the same, change like every day.
As you can see, our new brand voice is fearless, and our stance is unapologetic. When Detroit moves, the world moves. We are a city constantly transforming the world through music, art, and innovation. For those that move to their own beat, they know that Detroit is the place to be. We are exceptionally proud to promote Detroit as a premier regional destination. There are 138 cities, towns, and villages in the Tri-County area with more than 4 million residents. We want visitors to spend their out-of-state money in each and every one of these communities. We now have a brand that will put Southeast Michigan on a new level as inbound travelers plan their trips for the year. We needed a unified identity that matched the electric growth in leisure visitors. Thank you to MMGY, our ad agency, and the unstoppable Visit Detroit marketing team for helping to write our love letter to Detroit. People come here because we are the birthplace of American innovation. Where else can you ride in a Model T, visit Edison's lab, and see how our city put the world on wheels? People are also coming to Detroit because we are leveraging our automotive legacy to become the leader in global mobility. Ladies and gentlemen, we have just opened the first EV charging road in North America right here in our backyard. It is important to remember that when more people come to the region, more people fall in love with our city and our story. They spend their money here. They decide to move here. They decide to start a business here. Tourism, meetings, conventions, and events are an economic development engine that Detroit needs to focus on even more. At Visit Detroit, we believe that achieving the goal of attracting more people will serve an even greater purpose. Our work is helping more people decide they want to make Michigan their home. We are working to create sustainable and equitable economic prosperity for the region. Our team is incredibly honored to work on this mission, and we are looking forward to even more success in 2024. Thank you. Now, for what you all have been really waiting for, I'm thrilled and pleased to introduce our MC for today's event, Mike Tirico. Mike Tirico is the voice of NBC Sports' biggest events, handling play-by-play for Sunday Night Football and serving as the primetime host for NBC Universal's coverage of the Olympics. He has called primetime NFL games for 18 consecutive years, including 10 years as the voice of ESPN's Monday Night Football. In 2018, Tirico was named studio host for Football Night in America, the most watched studio show in sports, leading into Sunday Night Football, primetime television's #1 show. And 2023 marks his 28th season behind the mic. The Associated Press once said of the multi-award-winning host, smooth, informational, funny and opinionated when needed, Tirico is simply the best no matter what sport he is announcing. The more Tirico, the better, and we agree. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Mike Tirico. Thank you, sir.
Hi, folks. Good to see everyone. Great to be here. Wow, what a great crowd. I just want you all to look that way. Not that we're going to talk about the Tigers much, but I just want you to know there are warm days ahead. If you just think about being in that stadium over there a little bit, it's nice, but it makes you appreciate more that you get to come to indoor football games here, right? So good to be here, and what a great time to be not only a Michigander, but to be in downtown Detroit and to just feel the energy and passion. I don't know, by show of hands, how many people were down here Sunday? I can barely hear you because your voices are still gone for many of you. What an experience, and what an opportunity to celebrate so many good things about Detroit, about the Lions franchise, and about what we have ahead. I think the next hour or so will be fun. We're going to talk about so many things that are ahead for the city and for the Lions and what next week will bring as well. But you didn't come here to hear me talk. We're going to have a fireside chat. There's no better day to have a fireside chat than it was 2 below as I got in the car in Ann Arbor this morning. The Commissioner of the National Football League is here, and you can very easily say, without any qualifiers, one of the most influential people in global sports. And it's great to be able to share his expertise and thoughts with everyone here. Roger Goodell became the commissioner of the National Football League in 2006, followed a true legend in Paul Tagliabue, and has taken the league to places no one, I think, could have even imagined back some 17 seasons ago. And the great part of that is Roger Goodell knows the National Football League from the very beginning. He got in at a very entry level within the company and has risen to the top and has taken the National Football League to a place where it may be the top entertainment value and in terms of consumption, top entertainment entity that we have in American professional sports. I could give you his resume, but I'd rather you listen to him. So please welcome the Commissioner of the National Football League, Mr. Roger Goodell.
Let's get it.
Thanks, Mike.
Let's get it.
Nice timing to come to Detroit. Just wait till you win a playoff game and show up, right?
Yes, it is. It's great to be here, and I can even dress up in my Lions gear, so that's good.
There you go.
Yeah.
Duly noted, right? Wow. I know you during the playoffs are keeping an eye on every game and everything that's going on. You were in Buffalo for that game on Monday, but I know you were keeping an eye on what was going on here Sunday. Just as you watched it come through the TV, other than the commentary, what impressions did you get of watching the playoff game here in Ford Field and the Lions' first playoff win in 32 years?
Well, you know, the great thing about television, you know this, the crowd makes such a difference, right? The enthusiasm, the energy of that crowd comes through the television set. So as I'm sitting there, I could feel the passion, I could feel the excitement, I could feel the pride of everybody in the stadium, and it just was off the charts. And I happened to have a niece who was here because her husband is a huge Detroit Lions fan, so I got him a couple of tickets to come to the game, and they were texting the entire game just off the moon. Best event I've ever been to in my life. And it was just fantastic, so that's for you. So.
And we will hear from him later, but congratulations to Rod Wood, team president of the Lions and CEO. He'll join us on the stage, but Rod and the entire Lions group that's here, front office, sales, the business side, the football side, a lot of hard work went into the enjoyment of last week and beyond, so congrats one and all. So what does it mean when one of these franchises, like the Browns, like the Lions, the franchises that are here at the foundation, really, of the league and have these incredible fan bases, what does it mean for the league overall when they rise up and have weeks or seasons like they're enjoying right now?
I think it's special when that happens with a founding club, and when it happens after so many years of frustration and disappointment, it makes winning so much better, doesn't it? It's right. It just makes it special. I'm not saying you wanted to go through those years. I get it, but the reality is the league has never been more competitive than it is today. It is harder to win in this league, and it's harder to continue to win. I think 18 out of the last 20 years, we've had a team go from last in the division to first. I think we have 6 new playoff teams this year, which is about average. To have that kind of competitiveness, I think is great for the product and great for the fans, ultimately. And it's hard on teams because it is so hard to win in this league. And so to have the Lions in this case, or the Browns that had a great season, to have that kind of success after those years that are frustrating, it's rewarding. It's great.
I mentioned it a bit before I brought you up on stage. You've really watched this league grow in a very unique space as you got started at a lower level in the NFL.
The lowest level, Mike.
Tell the story, please, if you don't mind.
Pardon me?
Tell the story, if you don't mind, about your start in the league office.
Well, when I was going to college, I always wanted, for some reason, I had picked out I wanted to work in the league office for Pete Rozelle, the commissioner. I admired him. I thought he was extraordinary. I loved what he did. I studied everything about him. And that really began in high school. When I was a senior in college, I wrote a note to my father that said 2 things I want to do to make you proud, and second, to be commissioner of the NFL. He probably laughed out loud when he got it, by the way, and rightfully so. I think there's been 8 commissioners since the beginning of the league, and 3, one still going, hopefully, from 1960. So it was a little unrealistic, but I really, fortunately, just wanted to be part of the league, and I sent my letters everywhere. I have 53 rejections from NFL entities, that's clubs in the league office, some of which are my bosses today. And so I have those letters, I keep them. But it's the ability to come in and be an intern, which was a 4-month internship, and the players went on strike literally within a week after I started for almost 3 months. So I thought it was going to be an odd internship, but as it turned out, it was a great opportunity for me to learn and understand and get some exposure. And it doesn't happen without a lot of hard work, but it really happens mostly by people giving you opportunities. I had great mentors, Pete Rozelle included, Paul Tagliabue, so many people that have given me that level of support or that opportunity to really get to this opportunity that I have today, which is an honor and a privilege.
Do you still marvel at what the power of the league can mean to areas, states, cities? When you look at Green Bay, I mean, how in the world is that the home of a professional football franchise, and it's the home of one of the most successful ones as well? Do you still truly step back and appreciate the power the league has beyond the 9 or 10 games, regular and preseason, that a team may host?
I do, Mike, and it's actually evolved over the years. It's interesting because I always saw the power of what a team does in a particular market and how they rally around that team and the influence it has and how it brings people together. I don't think anybody can bring a community together like NFL football is. What it also means in society, beyond just the home team fans, is the platform and the influence the NFL has. I'll go back to 9/11. Everybody in the sports industry waited to see whether the NFL was going to come back the first week or the second week. What was the appropriate thing to do? We've seen that through all kinds of stages. COVID, another one. How are you going to operate through that type of turmoil and that kind of uncertainty? So I think the league has had this position now where it can actually influence society. The next great thing is how do we influence the global audience? And I believe that that's right in front of us and is going to be the next frontier.
I was going to ask you about that, but we'll jump to it now. National Football League plays obviously in England, a couple of different markets in Germany over the last few years. Brazil for next season is on the docket. What are you seeing as you step back and watch the growth of the international reach of the NFL?
Just in tremendous potential. Our London games, we've had 3 last year and 2 I think the year before, and 2 in Germany last year, 2 in Frankfurt, which sold out in a matter of seconds. We could have sold 4.5 million tickets for those 2 games.
Wow.
And those are Germans. Those are not expats. I mean, we work hard to try to get to the fans in that marketplace. And the same when we play in the UK. So the interest in our game is really extraordinary. We reach most of our fans like we do here in the States through media. That's continuing to grow at double-digit rates. We're 25% up in each of those 2 markets, UK and Germany. And so I believe that we will be a global sport. I don't think we're where we want to be, but we're going to continue to play games. We'll continue to play in new markets. Brazil is our new market for this year, but we already have 38 million fans in Brazil. And so our job is to now, how do we make it 100? And how do we keep growing? And that's the effort that we want to take on. And I believe the way they're reacting to the game, that the potential is clear. They want more and more and more football. And it's our job to try to serve that up.
And many teams over the last couple of years have created specific connections with countries, which is just building fan bases by, you may show up in one country and see Dolphins jerseys or Lions jerseys. These partnerships are another way to advance the connection.
Absolutely. And one of the great things about the fans, UK, if anyone here has been to the game, the number one thing that jumps out at you is you'll see a jersey from every team. It's the fan base is very diverse. They're there to enjoy football. They'll obviously support their team when they're there, but they come anyhow. They want to be part of that game. And so we allow our teams to make that connection and build that fan loyalty to a specific team. And I think it will continue to foster that growth.
So your visit wasn't because of the playoffs or the Lions winning the division or anything like that. This was.
It is not part of the script.
No, it's not. Right?
You earned it.
I did ask the commissioner on opening night in Kansas City where the script was going to lead, because that was the joke last year, that the league is scripted. You watch how this damn sport plays out, you just can't believe it. If there was a script,
you would up if I tried.
You would reject it, right? The way these things turn. The draft was the headline event that we were going to discuss when we knew you would be here with us, and it just really becomes a perfect fit with the Lions' success this year. Let's go back to the history of the draft, and we both are old enough to have experienced the draft in a hotel in New York. And what was the vision to take it out of New York, out of a hotel and then Radio City Music Hall, and take the draft on the road?
Well, Mike, it was really interesting. So we believed that taking it out of New York and taking it on the road would be terrific. It's one of those things you balance when you've had success. So the draft was doing incredibly well in New York. It was sold out. It was Radio City. Audiences were growing. And everyone asked me when I said, let's do this, well, why? It's already successful where we are. And it's something that happens that is what I call a cultural conflict. There is innovation versus tradition. And so you want to build on that. So for us, and for me in particular, I believe we got to keep growing. We have to keep believing that we can get better and expanding our game. We were reluctant to do it because we were on what happened was Radio City actually created a spring holiday show. And they said, we can't have the draft until June. And I said, now's our time. We left. And that was it. We haven't been back, and I'm not sure we will be back. Doubtful we will. And the reality is Chicago took it and did it for 2 years. And everybody has built on that success, taken it and created their own brand of the draft, their own style, their own approach that actually highlights the incredible assets in that community. And I think that's what makes it come to life, having the fans so much more a part of it, having hundreds of thousands of people out there when you walk out there. It's mind-boggling to see it. And it's because you share it with the fans. And so that's the key to me, share the game with the fans.
When people ask me about what's the success point of the NFL that you look back at, I bring up the draft because it is truly nothing. There is no action. There is no ball. There's no clock. There's no score.
Let's not go that far, Mike.
Well, it's you coming out on stage and introducing players.
I know, that's what I was talking about.
but it's almost must-see TV, and it has an energy that really connects, and taking it on the road has elevated that energy. So as you go back to Philadelphia and Las Vegas and Kansas City last year.
And Nashville was
incredible.
Yeah.
What is it about how it crosses into the cities and really takes almost a unique cultural tone? It connects with the host cities to give a little bit different version of that same event.
Well, right from the beginning, even when you're bidding for the draft, the number one thing for us is to try to tell you, do it your way. We want you to do it Detroit style, right? We want you to show what Detroit fans and the passion and the community and the downtown, if that's where the location is, and let people understand what Detroit's all about. And you won't get a bigger platform. Our draft here will probably reach 60 or 70 million people over the 3 days. There are not many opportunities to do that outside of a stadium. This is going to be where everyone's going to see the people and the places that make this community special. And that, to me, is the beauty of it. And so, to me, my encouragement to all of the leadership and the people who are organizing this, and there are so many that do an extraordinary job, is to do it your way. And I'm sure it'll be a great success if you do.
And to that end, there's a true benefit for the local businesses. Sometimes a big event comes in and the local businesses are not embraced and supported. And I know from the work the Detroit Sports Commission has done and everyone here at Visit Detroit, that's a big part of what this event is going to be. And that includes a lot of the great minority-owned businesses, which helps connect with the ethos of the league. And most of the players, a high percentage, are African-American. And this league has not run from that. It has embraced, supported, and elevated that. And the support of the draft is another version of that exact thing happening.
Absolutely. I think, diversity makes us better and stronger. And so we share this. Absolutely. We want to share this event with everyone, not just as people who come to watch it, but the people that work so hard to make it happen ultimately. And frankly, they benefit by bringing their business communities in. So it's called Business Connect, and it's an extraordinary program that allows us to get minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses. We want to bring those businesses in and make it a part of our event, and to give them that opportunity. And it's been extraordinarily successful on all our events. We do it at kickoff, we do it here at the draft, we do it at the Super Bowl. It's just part of sharing again and letting everyone have a piece of the success of the event also.
I would be remiss if I didn't point out that you get it in terms of really connecting with the players. I just saw a piece that you went, I believe it was in August or September, with a former player, Justin Tuck, to a correction facility in Connecticut. And he encouraged you to come along and see. What have you learned by spending time with the players in this league and understanding their causes and concerns that otherwise, if you just stayed at 345 Park Avenue, you would not have connected in the way you have with really the rank and file employees, the people who are the players of the National Football League?
Yeah, I believe you have to learn from every experience, different people. Everything you do is a learning opportunity to get better, ultimately, both personally and professionally, and for our league. And I truly believe our players we see them as great athletes, but they are incredible people. They are thoughtful, smart, have strong views. They're frankly born leaders. They know how to compete with the best of them. They know how to work with people as a team. I believe football is the greatest team sport in the world because it talks about teamwork. It doesn't happen without everyone working together. And our players contribute in their communities like no one else. I can't imagine doing that at my age. When I was that age, what they do, the commitment they make, the family makes.
On their days off, on Tuesdays very often.
Unbelievable. Right? And even in the off season, and more of our players want to move to the cities because they want to be part of that community and help address things. They also have been incredibly helpful to me in understanding what's going on in the communities that they come from. And a number of black players were incredibly influential to me 10 years ago when they were saying, well before a lot of the storms we've seen in the last few years, this is what's happening in our community. We want to address that as a league and as individuals and help us devise plans that as a league we can contribute to it, whether it's in criminal justice, whether it's in education, whether it's police and community relations, all supportive of trying to just how do we get better in our communities. And our players were focused on that, willing to take the time, putting their money behind it. And so we as a league devise plans with the players to make sure we use our platform. You may see it through Inspired Change. We see it through My Cause, My Cleats, where we talk about all the work that our players are doing and the causes that they care about. I'm inspired by our players every single day, and they call or they text. Not all of them are so great, but most of them are, and they have ideas. And I welcome that. And frankly, the critical comments or the constructive comments are the ones that are the most useful. I'm a big believer. People say all the things that are going great. I want to know what's going wrong. I want to know what we could do better.
I'll be totally transparent with you. We spent the last 5 minutes backstage talking officiating, right? And it's a point of contention for every fan, right? But no, in all seriousness, I said this to the commissioner, and I'm happy to say it publicly too. When we broadcast a game, we're not perfect. I blew 2 identifications, 1 in each game this weekend, called the wrong player. Analyst isn't perfect. Our coaches aren't perfect. Our quarterbacks aren't perfect. They throw incompletions. Running backs miss the hole. But we ask the officials to be perfect, right? The league works at it all the time to try to get it right. And that's the appreciation, I think, as folks involved in business and involved in community and involved in trying to get it better. Either you say, it's not going to work, or you try to make it better. And I think at every level you guys do all of that. So bravo for all of that.
Well, I think it's, listen, I'm proud of our officials. They do an extraordinary job. They aren't perfect. It's, they're making decisions out there in a matter of seconds. But what we've seen in a variety of circumstances this year, without getting into any specifics, is they get it right and they're still criticized. And, there are 2 teams out there. So, is he offsides? Is he not offsides? You got to call it. That's just part of their job. They are the hardest working people I've seen. They take great pride in it. They're individuals who work to try to make sure they're contributing to the game. But we add technology to try to improve that too. So I'm very proud of what they do.
We have healthy debates, and that's why I love the commissioner, because he'll tell me I'm wrong, and we move on. So I have questions from some of you here, because most of the questions I was going to ask I blew off because we just started chatting. Who was your inspiration? These are questions that you all submitted, so thank you for doing my job for me. Who was your inspiration?
Well, originally my inspiration was my parents. People talk about my dad because he led a public life in politics, but and I was very proud of that. He had courage and strength, and he made decisions that were unpopular, but he did it because he believed it was right. And that was a great lesson for me. But my mom I'm one of 5 boys in 7 years, and I'm the smallest of all of them. And I got to tell you, she was extraordinary, just a great influence. Unfortunately, we lost her at age 53, and I like to tease, we probably had a lot to do with that, having 5 boys in 7 years. But those 2 are my inspiration to this day, to continue to make them proud and to hopefully make them proud that I did it the right way. But I've had so many mentors in my life, and so many people that I've had the privilege of being exposed to that have changed the course of my life. Some with criticism, some with words of encouragement, some with, hey, did you think about this? And, mentoring is a big deal for me. I believe in it. I believe everyone should participate that in a way that really can help others. So.
And seeing a lot of familiar faces in this room, I know a lot of you mentor some of the great people in Detroit. So bravo to you who do that in this city on a regular basis. You've helped make this city come to life the last few years. What will make this the most successful draft in history?
I'd go back to what I said before. You do it your way. You show off this community the way it deserves. To your point, what you've done in this community is amazing. I've been coming here for decades. You see what you've done physically in the downtown area, but it's really as much about the way you've come together in the public and the private sector, and you've rallied around this community. And I think people in the world should see it, and you're going to have that opportunity. So if everyone sees what Detroit really is, and the passion of the people in this community, that will be a successful draft.
Well said. Other than the winter weather, why was Detroit selected for the 2024 NFL Draft?
You know, I've been always seeking to try to have a draft where it's also snowing at the same time. So that would be a cool moment, right? So
it's happened in April before.
It happened. I'm from Western New York, so believe me, I get cold and I get snow. I understand it. You know, I think it was really this can-do spirit. I give a lot of credit to the Detroit Lions. Rod, I think, has stepped back to do the next segment, but they believed that this community should be on the stage, and they pursued it very aggressively. They brought the business community together along with the public sector, and the leadership here has been extraordinary. And just a commitment to say, we're going to do this, and we're going to do it in a way that is something you'll be proud of as the NFL, but also our own community. And we didn't hesitate. We thought this would be a great place for the draft, and we have no doubt about it.
I'm going to jump off your list of questions for a second. Your wife, Jane, did a wonderful documentary, produced it on 4 of the amazing women who had seen so much of the history of the National Football League. And Martha Firestone Ford was one of the women involved. And I know that you are always so good about being fair to all 32 franchises and the ownership and the people and the teams, but I'm sure that it makes you feel good to see Martha, Sheila Ford Hamp, the entire Ford family that has meant so much not just to this franchise but to the league, be able to enjoy not just what happened in here and this season, but also the draft being here in Detroit this coming spring.
Well, I came here for a game earlier this season, and I didn't think I'd get invited back because when I left, you were 17 points down, as I recall. And usually I don't get a re-invite. As soon as I left, before I got to the airport, you were winning. So that's how great it was. But sitting at that game between Sheila and Mrs. Ford was a memory I'll take with me for a long time. I mean, Mrs. Ford's seen a lot of football, and one of the other women that my wife did that series on was Virginia McCaskey, who is 101 years old and has seen a lot of football. So sitting with them and hearing their perspective and how they look at the game and the knowledge they have about the game and the history was really beneficial to me.
2 last questions. Do you foresee the Super Bowl returning to Detroit? Super Bowl 40 was held here in 2006.
I don't know if they believe in that. What I'd probably say today is let's go kill the draft, and then we'll take that one on next.
Gotcha. Good answer. And lastly, what does the Lions' success this season and hosting the draft mean to the Detroit community from your perspective?
Well, you're better to answer that, but I would say from my perspective, again, it's a tribute to this community. None of that happens without a lot of hard work. It's hard to win in the NFL. To have a franchise turn around the way you've turned this franchise around, and so many people deserve credit for that aren't here today, but will be here on Sunday. But the fans also deserve a lot of credit for that. Your loyalty and your continued passion for it. It's great that it's coming together. And winning is hard in this league. Getting drafts is hard in this league. And I think I mentioned to you at the kickoff game, one of the things I was most impressed about at the end of the season, all of our games are Sunday afternoon, and we have to reschedule those games the Sunday night before. And we had already scheduled the game, but Detroit and Green Bay were playing each other. And there was a strong possibility the game would be meaningless for one team or the other. As it turns out, it was meaningless for Detroit as far as making the playoffs. But that game is what showed me what the Detroit Lions were all about. They came in and beat the Green Bay Packers in Green Bay. And that was the start of saying, this team has a character and a culture about it. And we started the season with the Detroit Lions, and that was intentional. And it was all because of that game, in my view, of let's see how they do when they go play the world champs in Kansas City. And they went and won. And that was a statement game. So you guys have earned it.
And it'll be exciting to be here April 25th through the 27th as we see fans from all over the country. That's the great part of the draft.
And Canada. We're bringing them in from Canada, too.
Absolutely. Come on over the bridge as well. And that's the neat thing about the draft. You see the draft, and so many fan bases are represented with their hardy and loyal fans. We all know how easy it is to get in and out of Detroit and drivable for so much of the league. We're going to have a heck of a turnout. And I can promise you the Detroit fans in the audience will cheer for you when you come out to start the draft.
No, I don't think so. That's not part of the tradition. I'd be actually really disappointed if I hear that. So.
Well, let me say that they should, because we all enjoy the National Football League on a regular basis on Thursdays and Sundays and Mondays, and a lot of it is the players. But so much of it is what the folks in the league office do on a regular basis that we don't see or think about. It's so nice how the right games show up at the right times, and you get to enjoy the NFL when you are with family and friends. And that has gotten there through a lot of work and a lot of vision from the league, starting with the commissioner. And it's always a pleasure to spend time with you. We are thrilled to have you here in Detroit. We look forward to having you back.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Commissioner of the National Football League, Roger Goodell.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you, pal. See you later. Always good to be here. Same here. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, the rest of our panel will, in our next panel, will join us. I'm going to introduce every whole full treatment of the introduction, since he was up here for 15 minutes, right? So you all know who Claude is. If you don't, get out of. Alexis Wiley is one of the terrific people who's very inspirational and a big part of what is coming in the draft here this fall. She's the founder and CEO of Moment Strategies, a terrific strategic communications firm located here downtown, and is the co-chair of the 2024 NFL Draft Local Organizing Committee. She's going to come in and tell you about that, and that is a lot. Rod Wood has been mentioned a few times. The president and CEO of the Detroit Lions took that job over in 2015, and it's not just the team on the field, it's the business, it's the connection with so many of you in the community. It's what this building has become and represents here downtown. It's the $100 million renovation of this place that has it looking as good as any building in the league and showed off spectacularly to over 35 million viewers last Sunday, and probably even more this Sunday afternoon. And Kai Bowman is the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance COO. He's a Michigan man, he's a Wolverine, proud to remind me of that. It's been a good week for all of you Michigan alums who are Lions fans as well. Best football week of your life. 1,300 plus businesses in the organization that Kai heads, and as we all know, you walk around this city
Jared Goff chants when the quarterbacks came out on the field. It was an amazing ending. I was a little bit like Claude, although I was more confident perhaps than he was, that we were going to be euphoric after 4 minutes. And we've done that a lot, where we get the ball at the end of the game and put it away. And we did it again, and we were a little crazy in our booth when St. Brown caught that pass. So it was awesome. And I'm looking forward to another one on Sunday. I think it'll even be bigger and better.
Yeah. And we'll talk more about the Lions and all of that here in a little bit. I did text a friend of mine who's an executive with the Green Bay Packers as the game was going on, the Dallas game, and was up on the screen. I said, "You are not going to believe the video I'm about to send you." Our feed in the booth was about 15 seconds ahead of the feed that was on the big screen. So we're preparing for the game. I'm sitting up there with Chris Collinsworth, and I see the Packers score a touchdown. I go, "Oh my God." So I just took out my phone and recorded the stadium watching and cheering, and I sent it to one of the execs at the Packers. I said, "You're not going to believe this, but the Green Bay Packers are being loudly cheered for scoring in Ford Field." It was a really cool thing to see. Those of you who are old enough will know that there are 4 teams left in the NFC. 3 of them are from the NFC Central. The old Central, before we split into the North and South and East and West, because the Bucs used to be a division opponent for the Lions. Geography be damned, but this is pretty cool to have a couple of division rivals together. All right, Claude, I want to start with you because the real reason that we are gathered to talk after the meeting is about the draft and everything that comes with it. Let's just open the door to the regional and local impact of the playoffs, 2 games being here, which almost is kind of a tremendous runway for the impact that the draft is going to have in, was it 99 days, 98 days?
99 days exactly.
Okay, got it.
You know, we estimate that we did a 2-year study. Every time the Lions have a home game, that's worth 10% boost in occupancy for all the hotels in the region. So having 2 home playoff games is going to be worth probably $20 to $22 million minimum for economic impact for our region. So, you know, as soon as the Green Bay won their game, I reached out to my counterparts in Milwaukee and Green Bay, and I said 2 words 3 times: thank you, thank you, thank you.
And there are a lot of partners of Visit Detroit here in the room. So can you just take that maybe a step deeper to understand where that impact is felt for them and the impact that it has for the next year or 2 on their business? Because this is income, obviously, you can't budget for, but now it comes in and gives you a whole different set of opportunities looking ahead at what the draft could possibly bring in the spring.
Well, there's no doubt there are 6 NFL cities within a 4-hour drive of Detroit. And Kansas City hosted 300,000 fans, and nobody was within driving distance of Kansas City. So we're really excited about what that could mean for the destination. And with a 60 million person worldwide audience and focused on all over downtown with drone shots and videos, we could never afford to have an advertisement like that. So it's going to be an incredible boost to our region. And I think having the NFL choose Detroit is an
All right, so that was the scene down in Detroit where NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell was speaking with some other members of the Detroit tourism community about all of the great things that have happened so far in Detroit, mainly in 2023, and everything that's coming up this year in 2024, including the NFL draft. That's going to be held at the end of April, I believe the 25th through the 27th. All of downtown Detroit is getting ready, as all eyes for the NFL will be on the Motor City. Of course, they're also talking about the success of the Detroit Lions. And fun fact, or this Sunday's game, when the Lions host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Detroit Red Wings will be hosting the Tampa Bay Lightning, right down the road and across the street. So the Red Wings have changed the start time of their game on Sunday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. to accommodate a little bit with all the traffic that's going to be along Woodward in downtown Detroit in the Stadium District. So heads up on that, but kind of interesting that both the Lions and the Red Wings are going to be hosting Tampa Bay teams on Sunday. We will also have another special coming up, so keep your eyes open for that. Other than that, make sure you stay tuned with News 10 today at 11 o'clock right now, plus online and on all of our streaming platforms, where we're going to have more coverage on everything great that's happening in Michigan.